Great stuff. Okay, cool. So thank you very much for joining us here today. I'm thrilled to have this webinar with our latest integration with Adsum. We've got Max here who's going to talk us through, show us what they can do, how it works, and sort of give a bit of a demo as to how it works, really. So a couple of general bits of housekeeping. This is recorded, so if you put your questions in the Q&A, when we ask them, we'll just sort of take names out and try not to include people's names there for GDPR purposes. And we will send out a recording of this afterwards. So yeah, without further ado, I will pass it over to Max, who will share a presentation with you all and show what Adsum can do.
Super. Is that sharing? You can see it. Amazing. No, thanks, Gareth, and yeah, thanks everyone else for joining the session today, and also for Nomi for hosting it. So yeah, as Gareth mentioned, I'm Max from Adsum, and yeah, excited to share how some of our tools which sit within Nomi as part of an integration, so namely OpenTax and Instant VAT, can help accountants and also their clients take control of their tax processes with more speed, visibility and confidence. So that kind of the crux of the webinar as such. In terms of the agenda, give you some foresight. This is what we'll cover in the next like 20ish minutes, maybe slightly less, and we'll have questions at the end, of course, as well, which we'll try and cover off with myself and Gareth. So to start with, I'll give you a quick introduction to Adsum. Some of you might or might not be familiar with us. Again, that won't take too long. But alongside our two key solutions, so OpenTax, the real-time tax tracking platform for accountants, and Instant VAT, a tool which accelerates VAT repayments for businesses. We'll generally focus the majority of time on OpenTax because I believe most of the audience are accountants, and we'll walk through how OpenTax works, why we built it, which might hopefully resonate with some of the pain points you're experiencing today, and some of the functionality that makes it useful on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, which also includes a live demo, as Gareth mentioned. Then towards the end, we'll touch very briefly on the Instant VAT product for businesses, and yeah, give you a way of how you might be able to get started through a trial, again, with those questions at the end. So yeah, all in all, I think about 20ish minutes is the amount of time we'll take in a day. So yeah, about Adsum, what we're building infrastructure. So yeah, practical modern tools that solve long-standing frustrations in the UK tax process for accountants, bookkeepers, and businesses. I think there are probably quite a few frustrations for all parties involved. So whether you're an accountant trying to monitor, let's say, multiple client tax obligations, or a business waiting for a repayment from HMRC, we're really here to help try and reduce that friction for all parties. So really our focus is, like I said, giving accountants and businesses better visibility, faster outcomes, and less time spent chasing HMRC, which is not pleasant for anyone. On the right hand side, you can see a very quick snippet or screenshot of our OpenTax products, which again I'll spend majority of time on talking through in this webinar. And on the left is the Instant VAT product, which is essentially the faster payment service for Instant VAT or for VAT repayments. And yeah, both of these products should be available through your Nomi access. So yeah, what is OpenTax? It's been around for about 18 months. It's grown incredibly quickly, actually, and hopefully you'll see why through some of the slides which I show here. So yeah, it's really a dashboard-based platform for accountants and bookkeepers who manage multiple taxes across their client base. So those multiple taxes are what we call the three core UK business taxes, so VAT, PAYE, and corporation tax. It connects directly to your HMRC agent accounts, so your agent services account for VAT and online services account for the other taxes, so your PAYE and corporation tax. And it gives you better visibility into what is otherwise fragmented data, or data that's just not easily accessible within HMRC systems, or just any other software for that matter. You'll be able to see very quickly and easily which returns have been submitted, what balances are due, whether there are any payments outstanding or any interest or penalties on top of those outstanding payments, whether direct debits are set up, or even payment plans in place, all from that one central dashboard across the multiple taxes. Although seeing these insights very quickly and easily are very useful, you can then transfer almost the action points automatically onto your clients in the form of email reminders to ahead of those payment deadlines, to make sure there are no sort of last minute panics in terms of making the deadlines for the payments, which should hopefully naturally save time within your practice by automating perhaps some existing tasks that you're already doing, or if you're not, simply adding value on top of your existing offerings to clients. Why did we build it? So yeah, hopefully some of this might resonate with some of you on a regular basis. So we had a lot of conversations with accountants, and we're hearing very similar stories in pretty much all of the conversations, that they were spending hours each week, each month, sort of logging into separate HMRC portals, trying to manually track submission statuses and payment statuses of clients' taxes, whether this is in an outdated spreadsheet, or even waiting for clients to confirm actions, whether they paid or not, or even waiting for HMRC, or sometimes even calling HMRC to find these updates. And often a lot of this work was done reactively. So maybe when something had gone wrong or something had been missed, you'd prompt this action. Ideally, HMRC Agent Services account or Online Services account, whichever one you use, we'd hope probably does show this information, but in reality it doesn't, or it doesn't at least show this information easily. And a study in 2023 from HMRC actually outlined some of the limitations with the Agent Services account. Maybe I'd link you to directly. Don't worry, I won't go through it all, but here are some of the outcomes. Namely these 7 sort of key outcomes here, which I've highlighted here. So there's no sort of centralized viewpoint, especially sort of post-submission, to see where your clients' payments, repayments, or even in compliance. After the submission, you can't see that very easily. You have to log into multiple HMRC accounts. So like I said, the Agent Services account for VAT, Online Services for the other taxes. Something very simple, but you can't easily see if a VAT return has been submitted or not through that system. And also your clients tend to have more information and visibility on their taxes compared to you. So there's a difference in the sort of the symmetry of information between you and what you and your clients get. And really, we built OpenTax to bridge the gap on all of these things, and also many more things that we've come along the journey. And one of our current users, David Howard, they put it quite nicely, is that OpenTax is what HMRC's Agent Service account should have always been, which is quite pleasant to hear. So some of the core functionality. This is for on the accountant side of OpenTax. So what we call tax tracking. So it's built to save you time, help you be more proactive with your clients, and get more visibility across your client portfolio. So the tracking shows things like live statuses across your VAT, PAYE, and corporation tax. You can quickly see any liabilities, any due dates, check if a return's been submitted or not and successfully submitted, monitor any payments, any penalties, or any changes. Across these 3 major taxes, PAYE being a regular job that you'll be looking at every month, VAT, whether monthly or quarterly, depending on the cadence of your client, corporation tax on an annual basis, but we're obviously aware that these corporation tax activities go in peaks and troughs throughout the year, with many companies being March year ends or December year ends, so it'll help with those spikes in the year. And also, rather excitingly, due to the demand from the existing users, we're bringing self-assessment into the fold very soon as well, hopefully before the next payment deadline in July, to give an even more complete tracking solution for you. There's also, beyond the which I'll show you in the demo as well. There's also some client functionality to OpenTax. Like I said, it's very useful. You as accountants seeing this extra information and easily accessible information, but passing that information or an action on to the client is also important, but also in an automated way, which makes sure there's no sort of extra workload or burden on your plates. So quite timely, actually. As of April 2025, so a month ago, you're probably all aware that the VAT late payment and interest on penalties has increased, which means that staying on top of deadlines is even more important. In this calculation example, which I did the other day, is an example of a £50,000 VAT payment, and if it was paid 60 days late. So under the old system, so pre-April 2025, the combination of penalties and interest would be about £4,500 on that £50,000 VAT payment. However, under the new system, with increased penalties, so gone from 2 to 3% in the earlier periods, and then from 4 to 10% after day 31, plus additional interest, the total cost of the late payment becomes 8.7k. So quite a steep interest, assuming my maths is correct, from pre-April to post-April. And of course, making sure those payments are made in time has always been important, but has naturally become even more important in today's world. So we've built OpenTax in a way that you can then automate any tax payment reminders directly to your clients. Also in a co-branded way, like we feel like it's important that the accountant's logo and name is on the email, so there's some level of familiarity there. And these emails will go out in an automated way for your clients ahead of any of the deadlines. So, for example, ahead of the 7th of the month for VAT, the 22nd of the month for PAYE, and of course, whenever the corporation tax deadline is based off 9 months after the year end for any given company. Hopefully automating some existing tasks that you might or might not be doing. And if you're not doing it, I'm sure it will certainly add some value and give an extra layer of safety to the operations you have in a very low effort way. So that's some of like the high level info and like introduction I've made on OpenTax so far, which has hopefully been useful, but I'm sure seeing the product in action might give you a little bit more context as to whether it's useful or not for your practice. So OpenTax and the Instant VAT product, which I'll chat about in a bit, are available within Nomi's software. Gareth will know better than me, but I'm pretty sure it's within one of the VAT sections within here, and you can click on Find Out More, which will then take you to just say like a page to create your account. Once you've created your account, you'll be prompted to connect your HMRC accounts. So, like I said, your agent services account for your VAT and online services for the other taxes. Once connected, it will pull through all of your clients that you have agent authorization for within your HMRC accounts. This is a demo account, so do take some of the information in here with a pinch of salt, but hopefully it gives you the context of what it does. So once it's pulled through your clients, it will give you a live view of your current client base and where all of the particular tax submissions, payments, obligations are at any given point in time. The type of information it pulls through and surfaces, which I mentioned is somewhat tricky or slow to get hold of in HMRC systems, is available on the right hand side here. I'll just zoom in a bit more if it's too small. So, and you can toggle this on and off at your will as to what's important for you as a practice. We've defined a whole bunch of statuses. This is the VAT section as to what a VAT return could be at any given point in time, and you can filter your dashboards based on any sort of view you want to, or the priority at every given time that you want to look at. One particular thing that we find extremely useful across our user base is the toggle to be able to see what's changed since you last logged in to OpenTax. As such, we see a huge spike in the volume of people signing into OpenTax between the hours of like 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. in the morning, where they log in, tick this, see what's changed, whether you need to action something or not, and then you can progress with the rest of your day. So quite a snazzy feature which has high impact. Beyond the centralized view, you can then drill into an individual company and look at all of their historic transactions, records, breakdowns, and you get an at a glance view of the situation of that particular company. Should you want to, you go into the individual VAT return as well. The same principles apply across all these taxes, so I won't dwell on them too much, but naturally the information within them is slightly different. For PAYE, you've got the references, whether direct debit's set up or not, payment plans, and the statuses are slightly different because of different tax. You've also again got the drill down information. And likewise with corporation tax, there are fewer companies in this example, but you've got the filing deadlines and whether the payment deadlines have been met or not, or when that payment deadline is, and the drill down information and the summary view within that particular company. So yeah, save a lot of time digging into HMRC systems to find that information. If you're a larger practice with multiple agent services or multiple online services accounts, you can connect those to OpenTax as well. So if you operate across different locations, different offices, you can bring all of your HMRC accounts into one view. So it really does truly centralize that information. And you can add multiple team members into the system and assign team members to view particular companies to track. So there's a more focused view for those team members. As I mentioned earlier as well, you can enable email payment notifications to your clients, and they can even actually get their own portal access as well if you want to. So they'll be able to see their live tax balances and payment due dates and obligations at any given point in time, which will naturally help reduce any sort of repetitive questions that you get as an accounting firm. So that's kind of OpenTax for the moment, and of course, any questions at the end, please do ask. I'll try and answer them. But yeah, flipping on to the other product, Instant VAT, which is more focused towards businesses within the UK, and particularly businesses in a VAT repayment position, which surprisingly is for around 30% of businesses at any given point in time throughout the year. So this product sits within Nomi and also within OpenTax as well for accountants and their businesses. And what it does is, it speeds up the VAT repayment from HMRC, so clients can receive their repayment often in as little as 24 hours from submission, instead of what is usually a week for sort of the standard process for a VAT repayment. It's very simple to set up, and I'll go through this rather complicated diagram in a sec. But yeah, it's simple to set up. Probably we've timed it. It takes about 5 minutes actually. And importantly for accountants and businesses as well, there's no changes to the existing accounting process or submission process. You still submit your VAT return through an MTD provider like Nomi, for example. And once the VAT return is submitted, Instant VAT runs automatically behind the scenes. And as soon as what we call HMRC verifies the return at this point, which more often than not happens within 24 hours, if not 48 hours of submission, Instant VAT releases a faster payment directly to the client or to the business. And then we will collect the VAT repayment a number of days after the payment lands from HMRC. So this time-saving accumulation of often around 5 days each month or each quarter really does add up throughout the course of the year. And the average user of OpenTax, we do see that it saves sometimes up to almost 2 months a year of HMRC wait time, which means it can become a very useful tool that's low cost and low effort that keeps your working capital topped up as a business throughout the course of the year. So that's everything on Instant VAT. Again, can answer questions at the end if you have anything on that. Yeah, it kind of wraps up the summary of the two options or tools that we have available within Nomi. If you want to find out more, particularly about OpenTax as an accountant, We'll of course share a note around to all the attendees afterwards with a link. You can start a free trial within OpenTax, or if you want to, you can schedule a demo call with us, and we can go through some more like practical example for you as a company, where we can answer some like tailored questions for you. Also, I think there's a QR code here which actually takes you directly to the Nomi Adsum sign up page if you wanted to initiate that trial sooner. We haven't really talked about the user base, but we do have just over 1,000 accountants and bookkeepers, bookkeeping practices using OpenTax since the inception around 18 months ago. It's become very popular because hopefully we're solving what is a common pain point for many practices, whether it's small or large practice. And yeah, so we'll send you an email. You can scan the QR code, or also it's available within Nomi as well. And we also have a team email, OpenTax, that Adsum works if you want to drop us an email as well.
Cool. Okay. So I think that's everything. I just want to say thank you so much for your time, Max. I appreciate you putting together that presentation and taking everyone through everything that Adsum can do, because I think it's a really powerful tool, and I think integrated with Nomi and put together, I think you can have it's a great way to see, particularly the OpenTax one, where you can have that dashboard and see everything that anyone owes. So, in my previous experience in practice, it actually monitoring, you get to see quite quickly who's in trouble, who's kind of delaying paying their tax. And then it allows you to proactively go in and say, hey, I noticed you didn't pay your PAYE bill. Is everything okay? Is there anything we can do? And then that puts the accountant as really an advisor, and really elevates the status. So I think that's really powerful. And then the instant VAT thing speaks for itself, does wonders for some cash flow. So yeah, I think it's really powerful. So thank you so much for your input, Max, and thank you to everyone for turning up and for your questions. Yeah, thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of the day.